What's good, y'all? I've got some super useful and fun and awesome buffs for Wobbuffet. It is probably one of the best utility Pokemon in the game. It has incredible moves now. Still doesn't have any direct attacking moves outside of Foul Play, Counter, Mirror Coat, and I guess technically Bide, all of which don't use its own attacking stats. So, yeah, like I'm not about to make Wobbuffet an offensive juggernaut or anything, but it does have incredible utility options in the form of many different new moves, move buffs and changes, immense bulk improvement, and then two great new abilities. Shadow Tag is useless for the player to abuse because the AI will not switch out without switch moves, which I'm almost positive will bypass trapping abilities, but I might be wrong. Either way, it's still situational, right? Like you still wouldn't want that as one of your abilities, especially in a ROM hack where every single Pokemon is balanced to have two useful abilities to switch between with an infinite use ability capsule. Before I get into any more depth about these buffs and changes, though, I do want to have a disclaimer for any new viewers to check out that link in the description. If you look on screen right now, well, obviously the Google Sheet is linked right down there. You can look at all the Pokemon buffs and changes, as well as all these other useful tabs here on the bottom. But the most important one by far on screen right now is the move buff change sheet. There are 600 of them in this hack, over 600, and there are also 130 new moves in this hack as well. So I highly encourage you to give all these a look because a lot of the move buffs and changes are super important. Pretty much all of them are super important to understand how pretty much every single Pokemon will function now. And these are organized into all these different categories, so you can navigate clicking on these. It's super easy. You can also just Control plus F for a specific move if you're curious, or honestly, you can just scroll and just read. I would recommend doing that. It's pretty fun. You know, it would be fun to look at all of them. But yeah. With that being said, Wobbuffet has two great abilities, an Emergency Exit and Magic Bounce, both of which are very fitting for this, weird-ass Pokemon. Wobbuffet, if you read the dex entries, I'm pretty sure Wynot as well, is known for, like, fleeing or hiding or running away from opponents, so I think Wynot is more so supposed to run away. Wobbuffet is not as much, but I do think Emergency Exit fits his vibe. It's also just an incredible, like, pivot ability. There's no other like fully evolved Pokemon with Emergency Exit or Wimp Out in this hack. They're all just babies. So I think actually making use of Emergency Exit in the form of Wobbuffet is super cool because of how bulky he is. You also have access to an infinite use eject button and parting shot on like every single mon. So it's not like pivoting is like super hard to come by, but Wobbuffet is one of, if not the best pivot in the game because of Emergency Exit and because of Parting Shot and his immense bulk. Magic Bounce is also incredibly useful. It makes you immune to Taunt, as well as a bunch of other status moves, of which there are several dozen new ones in this hack. There are tons of new statusing options. There are tons of new stat dropping options. You can see all these here, like here, for example, here are all the stat dropping moves. There's a bunch of them here, a bunch of status inflicting moves, all types of stuff like that. Tons of new buffs to all these moves. All right, I don't recommend pausing the video and looking here. I recommend just opening up that Google Sheet. Of course, I'll be talking about the really relevant ones in this video, but point is, Magic Bounce has a lot of applications. The most obvious being the immunity to Taunt, which is a pretty common move that AI will use against you to try to stop you from setting up. So why not? And Wobbuffet can also Baton Pass boosts really well to their allies. You have Z-Hop for +3 attack. You have Bulk Up and Calm Mind, and Nasty Plot. Obviously, all three of those are useless on Wobbuffet himself because, I guess technically, like, you could use Calm Mind or Bulk Up and just use it for the defensive boost, but you also have, like, Amnesia and Barrier for that if you want to do that. So, point is, it's mostly for Baton Pass, especially Nasty Plot. That's only for Baton Pass. And it's pretty cool because of that. Although, in theory, you could actually use a fucking Z Mirror Coat Nasty Plot set. It's kind of funny. It's terrible because you only have 33 special attack, but you could if you needed to kill something desperately and you didn't want to switch out for some reason. But yeah, you have awesome utility options. Tickle and Confide are great early game. Confide being special, Tickle. Counter Mirror Coat are obviously going to be, I wouldn't even say staples. And honestly, you can run full utility on Wobbuffet. You might not even want to keep Counter Mirror Coat, but if you do, then they're there. You have Moonlight for reliable recovery, immense bulk, 180, 118, 118 is super tanky. You don't have that many resistances as a pure psychic type. You only resist fighting and psychic. But that actually could be construed as a good thing because especially with like counter and mirror coat, you actually might want to be able to take more damage from attacks so you can counter and mirror coat them back and then, moonlight your HP back. You also have Z Detect, which will give you essentially heal you by max HP with the Fightinium Z, which by level 21 you'll have, so that's pretty cool. Psychic Terrain just in time for Hala is awesome. It will disable his priority moves. And you can use like Psychic Terrain plus Emergency Exit, plus like Tickle, and just be a great utility mon for Hala. You can also counter some of his Pokemon. You can take a knockoff or whatever because your bulk is pretty good. Tearful Look is also great. That drops attack and special attack. Parting Shot is obviously beautiful and very fitting for them. They've got dual screens. You can pass Substitute. You can pass Nasty Block, Calm Mind, Bulk Up, Z-Hop, Stockpile. You can Barrier, Amnesia. You can Baton Pass all types of boosts. Topsy-Turvy is priority and also extremely useful for totem Pokemon specifically. Disable, very, very useful. On Wobbuffet specifically, of course, because that's what he's like. You guys know what I'm talking about when I say that's useful. Trick Room plus Parting Shot into your like Trick Room abuser is pretty great. What else is there? Stockpile, I already said is great, plus buff Swallow, which will heal you about 100% HP. So you Stockpile, Swallow, Counter Mirror Coat is like perfect moveset right there if you want to just run those 4 moves, because Stockpile will give you +1 defenses, and then even after one single Stockpile boost, if you press Swallow, it's a priority move now, and it heals you about 100% HP. So essentially, you Stockpile turn 1, you are now living every hit, right? You counter, and then you Mirror Coat the next Pokemon comes in. Now you're on red HP. Or you counter twice, right? You counter twice, now the Pokemon's dead. Now you're on red HP, hypothetically speaking. Now you click Swallow and you're back to full HP. You Stockpile again, and the cycle repeats. It's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. The priority especially helps because Moonlight is you're going to be moving last most of the time with Moonlight because you're a slow Pokemon. So not that Moonlight is bad, it's just, Stockpile and Swallow are super sick for later on in the game. All of your moves, like the last moves that you get, because basically everything past bulk up is all post-game tutor moves in terms of the TM and tutor options. And then level 50, you'll be like at Aether Foundation. Level 48, you'll be probably by Nanu. So pretty much all your moves are available before Pony Island and Aether Foundation, which is pretty cool as well. You do have pretty bad 4 Musad Syndrome, but that goes for any Pokemon in this hack. You just have to be smart with at what point you delete certain moves, and also just which specific playstyle you want to play your Wobbuffet as, because again, you can use it as pure support, you can use it as individual, like Counter Mirror Coat, heal move, cheese. Really just depends on what you want to do. Even stuff like, Pain Split is useful. Scale Swap is very useful for certain totems. For example, like say hypothetically Araquanid, right? You can skill swap away Liquid Veil or Huge Power, or you can skill swap away like Tinted Lens on Lurantis or something. It depends on the situation, but it's really nice. You could even skill swap like Ultra Necrozma's Dazzling and use a priority move on it, but also you could just Mirror Coat cheese. Ultra Necrozma anyways, so, but yeah, Topsy-Turvy, you got all types of crazy stuff for that. But yeah, great Pokemon, especially for totems. And as for boss fights, it's a great pivot, great support Pokemon. It can just come in, debuff the hell out of the opponent, and then swap out. Or you can, again, use the heal moves plus the Counter Mirror Coat combo. It really just depends on which of the two you'd prefer to do. It's going to be hard to be able to do both at once. So you really do have to kind of pick. Because, yeah, you won't be able to run. I mean, you could theoretically run like Counter Mirror Coat heal move and then like Parting Shot or something. I don't know. It's really hard to pick your moves on Wobbuffet. That's something that'll be challenging, but I think Wobbuffet would really reward like skilled players. It has like so much potential, just as like an incredible utility Pokemon, and it can also do some big damage back with Counter and Mirror Coat and even Foul Play technically. So yeah, that's all super fun. Lucky Chant even is useful. Like it, makes first impression not deal crits damage anymore. There's also tons of new guaranteed crit moves that Lucky Chant will help with as a priority move. So you can use that for team support. I wish I could make it last longer, but sadly I can't. So it's only 5 turns, which is only 4 turns on this if you switch out. So it's whatever. It's still good though. Maybe not like a long-term move that you'll keep, but maybe for Guzma, for example, for the first Guzma fight, you might want to teach Lucky Chant if you don't have any first impression answers. You can Lucky Chant turn 1, it's priority move. I don't know, and you can switch it back in later. But yeah, Emergency Exit is huge. Magic Bounce is huge. Why Not also has Unaware, which makes it even better for totems for Akala Island. It will evolve in time for Totem Marowak, so you can actually choose not to evolve. You are significantly less bulky as Why Not, so it's kind of an opportunity cost. You're trading Unaware for the significantly less bulk. And Magic Bounce is still useful for the totems anyways, so it's kind of up to you which of the two you'd rather use. But yeah, the evolution is optional, so you can theoretically use a Violate Why Not, although it's not like the best option past like Totem Lurantis. I would say there's no real justifying it with Unaware. But yeah, overall, super sick. I mean, there's even a bunch of other utility stuff I didn't cover, like Power Split. That's really good because you have base 33 attack and special attack, and Power Split averages your attack and special attack with the opponent, and that also means that crit moves can't bypass it. So for example, Charm, right? Charm is great. Parting Shot, Befriend, all of these regular dropping moves will drop the base stats, but if it's a crit move, which are pretty common in this hack, there's a full list down in the description below. Let me make sure I'm recording. Okay, and thank God. I don't know why I just got like this weird paranoia that I wasn't. But yeah, I lost my train of thought. Power Split, very good because it means that the crit moves will not bypass through your drop, and it can totally like neuter a Pokemon in front of you. As a whole, though, this would be an absolute blast of a Pokemon to use. Very, very useful while still making sense because of course Wobbuffet shouldn't be able to attack directly. Foul Play is the only like reach, but I see Foul Play pretty well on them. I like it because it uses their attack set against them. Yeah, I considered a couple other. I considered changing their type to Psychic and Dark, or even Psychic and Ghost. Oh, that's a little bit weirder. Psychic and Dark fits them pretty well if you read the Pokedex and stuff, but it's whatever. I don't think they need the Psychic Dark typing. Not to mention, it does give them a 4 times weakness to first impression, and like there's no real. The only benefit would be stat foul play and the Psychic immunity. But honestly, the Psychic immunity could be construed as worse because you might want to mirror coat the Psychic moves back, and you can't do that if you're part Dark. So I would say Pure Psychic is just better for Wobbuffet, which is why I kept it. Also, because like type change just feels kind of unnecessary for a Pokemon like this. But yeah, I appreciate you listening this far into the video. Shout out to you. Let me know in the description. Sorry, comment section down below what you think, and I'll be back for more coming up. Peace, y'all.